What's up? What's up? It's time for Done Way Past Funny with your host, Sugar Ray. And G.D. Fenderson. Join us as we take a look back at the first time comedians took the stage with this week's guest, Sandy Bernstein. It's time to get down and get dope with Done Way Past Funny. Hi, I'm G.D. Fenderson, Certified Forensic Humorist, and welcome to Done Way Past Funny, where we look at the early efforts of comedy, or the early comedy sets of seasoned comedians before they got seasoned. Allow me to introduce my special guest, Sandy Bernstein. I'm going to tell you now, it says right there for Ray, but Ray's on CPT. He's never going to be here on time, I don't think. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to edit it out. He's just not here. So if you please, my special guest, who was scheduled to be here and she was on time, Sandy Bernstein, please tell our audience a little bit about yourself, how long you've been doing comedy, whatever you want them to know.
Okay. I've been doing comedy. It'll be 8 years this August. And I am based in Baltimore, D.C. area. So I do a lot of shows. We refer to it as the DMV. Most people would think of that as the Department of Motor Vehicles. But in this region, it stands for D.C., Maryland, Virginia. And yeah, so I do a lot of open mics. I do booked shows. And when I'm not performing comedy, I also produce 2 open mics that are monthly, and I produce a monthly booked comedy show for Try It Out Comedy, and that's a clean comedy show. It's once a month in Columbia, Maryland, and that's been very successful. So yeah, so that's kind of my bag.
Now, as like I said, Sandy is kind enough to. Basically, it's my nature not to ask people to do something that I myself would not do. And so there are a lot of comedians who would not watch their first sets and let other people discuss them with you. I mean, believe me, there are a lot of comedians out there who have a first set and go like, I don't want to see it ever again. Never. And I could name names, but I'm not. But let's just say that the people you see in this show have all agreed. I didn't blackmail anybody. I'm not holding any hostages. But because I am one who believes in not asking anyone to do something I wouldn't do, tonight we're doing my first set, and Sandy is nice enough to watch it with us, and then we're going to discuss it. And just heads up, everybody, it's a 8-minute set. We divide it into 4 sections to make it easier to talk about and digest. So you're ready, Sandy? We'll hit the.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
The stage is Glenn, ladies and gentlemen. Glenn. Thank you very much. Another applause for Mark. That was fantastic, Mark. We've been here for a week together, and still making me laugh. I'm almost ashamed if you're going to be let down. I'm really sorry about this. My name is Glenn. That's with 2 N's. My mother had a slight stutter, so technically it's Glenn. I'm the youngest of 4 kids. My oldest, well, not my oldest, my mother's oldest, my oldest sister. Her name is Cookie. And there's the 2 boys, Ralph and fuck it. When we were little, we got in trouble. We got our share of beatings, or as we called them in Baltimore. Whoopings. We got whooped. We just got whooped. I mean, we got whooped. We got hit with anything my mother could find. She wasn't picky. If she was up here, it'd be this hat, be that bottle. It didn't matter. Pillows, garter belt, And I mean, I don't know if anybody's ever been hit with a guard belt. I don't know if anybody remembers what a guard belt is, but those fuckers hurt, okay? And she would beat us until we were like 50 shades of black and blue. I mean, there was nonstop. But that was not the worst thing she ever hit us with. The worst thing was our cat. See, you don't believe me. My wife didn't believe me at first either. But it was our cat. My mother and my sister were having an argument. I don't remember what it was about. I think it was about whether or not I looked more like the mailman or the milkman. But at any rate, their words are flying back and forth. I mean, tempers flying, words flying. Next thing you know, the cat walks in. Cat flying. My sister's back. And just sat there. And got pissed. And that sound that cats make when they're pissed. Oh. Oh. And he was, I swear, when he left the room, I could hear him say, "Fuck!" And my brother said, "What?"
It is painful.
Oh, that's not so bad.
I think it's because I know what I wrote down and what I was trying to do.
Oh, they were two different things, huh?
Oh yeah. My introduction, I had to change because the guy that went before me, the Mark Manning, this was a boot camp, and we rehearsed the show. It was a comedy boot camp, and we did like 2 or 3 days, two days of writing and a couple of days of rehearsing, and then we did the show. And in rehearsal, Mark Manning's show, his bit was about him being a porn star, and he was a retired. Well, he used to do gay porn, and so his entire set was about being on the set of a gay porn set and the whole bit, and that was what he wrote his thing on. And so I wrote my opening bit based on his material. And for some reason, unbeknownst to everybody, he just changed his set. And he went up there and did something totally different and never mentioned the gay porn, never mentioned sex. It was the closest thing he mentioned, the closest he came to mentioning sex was why he and his husband did not have kids. That's it. That was the closest to discussing sex. And my opening bit, I had to change my opening routine. And I wasn't a seasoned comedian, so I was like rambling in the beginning. So you're going to be disappointed. Nice round of applause, Mark. You're going to be disappointed because I didn't know what else to say at the time. So.
Right. Yeah. That's interesting because I was going to say, oh, you shouldn't. I mean, and being self-deprecating is one thing, but telling people you're not going to enjoy this, that's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah, and the only reason why I did it was because it was not being seasoned as a comedian. I thought, well, let me make fun of myself, or let me try to lower my standard, because I really thought my opening joke was going to be like killer. And as a result, since I didn't get to do it, I was like, oh man.
Right. Yeah, you needed something to open on.
Yeah.
So after that whole boot camp class, he didn't use anything that he worked on in class after all that.
No. And I understand why, because there were a lot of people in the group that were uncomfortable. At least as we were all, like I said, it was a boot camp. Most of them had not done comedy before. And some of the people were like, I'm uncomfortable listening to him talk about gay sex, and I guess eventually he became self-aware.
Right.
And I guess he decided, well, maybe I'll become famous first and then talk about the gay sex. But he never became famous, or at least not for that. Unless he's already famous in the gay porn circle. Since I don't watch gay porn, I don't know.
Yeah, you would have no way of knowing.
And I'm not going to Google him to find out.
Yeah, you don't want that in your browser history.
No,
You'll be
I
serving
love
up
you,
all kinds
Mark.
of ads.
Yes, yes. I'm still trying to get rid of all the Viagra ads that I don't need because I researched Viagra for a joke.
No, I know. It's can't get away with anything.
Yeah.
So what are my other observations? Oh, yeah, move the mic stand. That
Yeah.
drives me crazy when, comedians don't, like, put put the mic stand out of the way. That's always a dead giveaway that you're a newbie if you don't move the mic stand. Uh, but I mean, the stuttering jokes, they were good. I mean, as long as you don't get uptight audiences that, "Oh, you're making fun of people who stutter." Yeah, you always run that danger in DC. But I thought it was funny.
Oh,
Um, let's see. Oh, yeah, and, at times it was hard to understand you, like, when you first said garter belt. So I guess, you weren't, like, enunciating the way that you do now, the GD I'm familiar with.
yeah. This is so stupid, but I have to take my time to talk
Mhm.
because these are not the teeth I was born with. These
Uh-huh,
were made for me in 2002. And what they did was they made these four and they made them that my canines are very long.
uh-huh,
And so my original teeth, my canines came down almost like a dog or a vampire. And so
uh-huh.
they put these in, they said, we're going to make these proportionate to your canines. And so they're too long and they hit my lip. I've had these teeth since 2002 and it's still hard for me to talk with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Cause they come down that far.
Mhm.
As far as, yeah, it was hard. And I had a different line for the garter belt also, which is another reason why I flubbed that word because
Mhm.
I had a different joke I wanted to tell after the garter belt, and I thought better of it, not better of it, because I think it would have worked. I just started thinking that people were going to be uncomfortable with it,
Mhm.
um, because I thought like I'd have to explain why a kid would have seen his mother wearing a garter belt.
Mhm.
And I thought, okay, well, I don't feel like explaining that because I didn't explain it in a joke.
Right.
Just that being beat by with the garter belt is it creates a different kind of fetish. You're something that's sexy, but it causes pain. And
Right.
so I abandoned that joke like right after I said the word garter belt.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, no, I'm not going to tell that joke.
Uh-huh. That was really all of the I mean, I like the callback at the end of that little section,
Oh yeah. The
to the "fuck it."
And the whole time doing rehearsal, I kept moving the mic out of the way, out of the way. And
Uh-huh.
like I said, I have a routine to this day that I do. I have my opening joke, and I moved the mic out of the way. I do my opening joke, and when he took away my opening joke, it took away my routine that I worked on for
Right.
all of 3 days. It's like,
Right, to
yeah,
move
yeah,
that mic stand.
yeah. Move the mic stand. Tell your opening joke. It's like now I'm going like, what do I don't have an opening joke. What? And then I forget all that. If you have a routine and something
Yeah.
goes wrong, you start missing steps, and then you have to figure out where to go in your routine.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but I agree with you wholeheartedly. Move the mic stand and enunciate better,
Mhm.
and and maybe not pace so much. uh, shall we hit the second part?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Now, I see that Adrian Peterson, running back for the Minnesota Vikings, is in trouble in Texas for beating his kid. Well, now I'm not condoning child abuse at all. My thing is, I could see if this was Massachusetts, it's a great liberal bastion, or Hollywood with the elites. But this is Texas, where you can carry a loaded gun into a bar just because it's your right. Or you can shoot a man in the face with birdshot because after a few beers he looks just like a quail. They still have corporal punishment. And their state motto is, if it ain't dead, he ain't done yet. Now I'm upset because Peterson, he could beat his kid, but he couldn't beat the Packers. I mean, sorry, I don't get it. Texas is a state where well, lighting your fart is a competitive sport. Okay, it's a place where men die with their boots on, and logic and reason just goes there to die. See, but I'm not condoning child abuse. I'm not. I mean, I have my share of weapons. I turned out okay, but I'm saying you have to know your kid, because not every kid needs to be beat. Some kids you can talk to. Some kids can be reasoned with. Some kids you can punish. But if they're real bad, you know, don't feel. I mean, they're real bad if they're real bad. You know, make them binge watch some Jerry Springer or some Honey Boo Boo.
So the pacing was distracting me a little bit, and I don't know if I would, if I was having a hard time following it, or just that I didn't get my nap today. But I was having a little bit of a hard time following it, but that might be more of a reflection of me than your material.
Well, if you saw there's like a little black music stand there.
Yes.
Okay, and this is one of the things I've learned I learned that night when we did the set, because we were all new timers. They said to us that we could bring notes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and we'd be able to look at our notes. And since we're new timers, and in the beginning, he explained it to the audience, because it was a paying audience. They were there to see us, but they also there to see the headliner.
All right.
And he explained to them that we had notes, so it was no secret. We didn't have to hide them, but I didn't know about taking notes.
Uh-huh.
And so I wrote out my entire set on that piece of paper.
Oh.
And so I didn't learn later until I could just go with to name a joke, and I could write the name of a joke,
Right. Yeah. Like a set list, like musicians do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which I did not know that term, set list. Back then. So I did not have a set list. I just had my material. And and I learned the hard way that once I set it up there, I could not read it from that distance.
Oh no.
I put it out because I never read it in rehearsals. I didn't read it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay. And that's why I'm like walking and I'm like trying to find a spot, because like with the set list, it's like, say, if there's 10 jokes, you have like 10 lines.
Right.
With a 4 minute, I wrote with 4 minutes worth of material, I had like a page, and it was all like 10 size font or something. And I'm like, I can't see anything.
Right.
And when I got lost, I was trying to like read through the set and find what comes next. And when I realized that was like gone, I was like, okay, I will just go on until I find something to land on, and then keep going. Which is why my 5-minute set was 8 minutes and 49 seconds.
Oh, you didn't? Did you get the light?
I don't know. I have no idea. I didn't know what a light was.
I'm surprised they didn't tell you that.
Oh, my wife says that the host was like behind the curtain pacing. She says she thought he was going to snatch me up at any time. And I think my salvation was that one of the guys that went before me, not right before me, because that was Mark Manning, but before Mark Manning, he only went for like 2.5 minutes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And we all had 5, and he went 2.5. And Mark went like 4 minutes and 50 something seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And I was the only one to go like that far over.
Mm-hmm.
And if it weren't for the other guy going that much shorter, he probably would have yanked me right off.
Right.
But he's probably going, okay, we'll give him an extra 2.5 minutes, because that's what we have.
Yeah, luckily you didn't get clapped off the stage, where the host comes on stage and he's clapping and give it up for GD.
Yeah, and turn off the mic, play the music, turn it like the awards. But that applause break, the applause break was written. Actually, it came from a conversation I just had with a guy named one of the comedians. We were on the phone talking, because that week I found out my mother was terminally ill. Found that she was dying of cancer. And so we were on the phone talking, and because of the nature of my material about my mother, he's going, well, you still going to write about your mom? And I'm like, yes, Yeah, I mean, sure. I can't, we're doing the show in 2 days. I can't rewrite this, and so we started talking about the set and the whole bit, and when I mentioned we're talking about the Adrian Peterson stuff because that had just happened in the news, and
Oh,
he's the
right.
one, that said, Sean Guthrie goes, he says the line, but it was in conversation. It wasn't a line. It was in
Right.
conversation. It's like, yeah, Adrian Peterson can, beat his kid, but he can't beat the Packers. And I
Right.
asked him, I said, oh, that's funny. I said, can I use it?
That is a good line. That was like the best line of that section. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It may have been the best line of my career. No. But that model, actually, I modeled a lot of things I've done from that format, just
Mhm.
that little twist there. Well, I don't know
Uh-huh.
the technical term for that style of dialogue, but
Mhm.
uh, and I told him, I said, this, can I use it? He goes, yeah. And I said, it's going to get a laugh. I said, when it gets a laugh, I'm pointing you out because this is your laugh.
Mhm.
This isn't mine. This is yours. And that's what I did. I pointed him out.
Okay, we ready for the next section?
Sure.
Okay.
No, and Peterson said that he doesn't count. He lost count when he said he gets scared. See, I don't believe in spanking a child when you're angry, or when you're hungry, or when you just quit smoking. You don't do that out of anger. The idea is to get him to learn something. So he lost count. He didn't focus. See, that was my mom's problem. My mom couldn't focus because she had too much going on in there. When she was beating us, she had to restrain you, and then she had to lecture you. She had to beat you, and she had to quiz you about why you were being beat. She would ask you, why I'm beating you? And if you didn't know, she'd beat you again. And the lectures, I knew all of my mother's lectures. I heard them all. And I knew those lectures like the back of my mother's hand. I heard them all before. Now, kids know when they've done something wrong, usually. And if they don't know, they find out. And they find out in a universal way. They hear all three names. All three names. Like, Richard! Beat Bird Shot Cheney! He knows he's in trouble. Now, in my case, when I heard all three names, I knew two things. I knew I was in trouble, and I knew I had about 15 minutes to get in the house because my mom had that stutter. And I had 5 N's in my name, 2 D's, an F, and an apostrophe. My mom could not get over that apostrophe. I knew I had time to get in the house. And I'm going to tell you, there is no stutter like an apostrophe stutter, because an apostrophe stutter don't stop.
An apostrophe stutter?
It was something that I made up. Because technically you don't pronounce an apostrophe in a word.
Right. Yes.
And that was part of what I thought was the funny thing is that, okay, you don't pronounce the apostrophe, so you shouldn't stutter with an apostrophe.
Right.
But I went there because to me it was funny. And it got a chuckle, but it wasn't as funny to them as it was in my head.
Right. Yeah. No.
And I never and I never told them my whole name, so they didn't know about. They only know me as Glenn.
Oh, I see.
I was introduced as Glenn, and I said my name is Glenn with 2 N's. I didn't tell them about the rest of my name, so I didn't even set it up. Which took me almost 20 years to realize.
No, but I like the joke about, you knew the lectures like the back of your mother's hand. That was a good one.
It's one of those things like when you learn something, so I know that like the back of my hand. And so I was hoping people would make that reference. Yeah. Let's see. We hit number 4?
Yes. Is that number 4 of 4? Is this the stunning conclusion?
I think so. Yes, okay. I think this is the stunning conclusion.
Okay.
So you have time to get into the house and check things out and make sure what's in the room. What can she hit me with? Okay, I'll hide. Okay, I'll hide the vase. I'll hide her scotch. Well, she's not gonna hit us with the scotch. She's not gonna waste good liquor. But I'll hide the dog because I remember the cat. I'm going to hide the dog. Now we were smart. We got a boxer, no tail. But we didn't think it through. We didn't have him neutered. we had to take the dog outside. And that was a choice, not doing, and that was something that we would regret. Well, actually, him and my stepfather would both regret about a year later. But so you hide everything, but then that's it. The beatings start. You know, there's no real ceremony. My mother would grab us and she'd say, "How many times do I have to tell you to take the trash out? How many? Huh? One? No, I don't think so. I told you 6 times. 6. Now, you're thinking she's repetitive. No, she's teaching us. See, that 666 is a reference to my mother beating the devil out of us. And my mother loved a good literary device, even when she was beating us. So 6 o'clock is what time you got home from that floozy's house. Whoa. Oh, see, that was Dad that got home at 6. I'm Glenn. And my mother never apologized. She would just look at you and go, then why didn't you empty the trash? It was Rap's turn. It was my week to do the dishes. And without skipping a beat, my mother looked at us and go, well, I'm sure you did something I didn't catch you for. I'm sure you got away with something. And I just look at her and go, fuck it. And my brother said, what? Thank you very much.
Yeah, I like it that you ended on the callback.
Yeah, even as a rookie, I knew I had that. I knew that. I didn't know
Yeah.
what a callback was.
But yeah, but you instinctually knew.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. And the other was that, and I started talking about my stepfather, which went nowhere because I wasn't supposed to mention that when I was talking about the dog still had his testicles and I started talking about, and I went nowhere with it because I wasn't even supposed to start that story. I didn't have an ending for it because it's like, really? So I just abandoned it midstream. I learned a lot. Like you was talking about the enunciation.
Yes.
That's one of the things I learned when I got the video back and I watched it. The first thing that annoyed me was the fact that I could not understand what I was saying.
Okay.
I spoke it. I spoke the words and I was like, what did I say?
Yeah. What was
And
that?
and if I don't know what I'm saying and I spoke the words, I can't expect anybody else to understand what I'm saying because they've never heard me speak before.
Right.
You know, I mean, you have people in your family have like certain ways that they speak, and you get used to it.
Right.
This is their first time hearing me.
Right.
You know, so, but you're absolutely right. The enunciation has gotten a little bit better.
Oh yeah, no, it's a lot better. I never have a hard time understanding you now.
Yeah. So anything else?
Yeah, I mean, just like tighten things up. And I realized that you were sort of going in sort of different directions and not quite getting to where you were going in places.
Yeah.
But that all comes with experience, which now you have.
Yeah. Every time I got lost, I started to just ramble. But it's funny because like I still ramble now, but usually it's how should I put it? One of the things I learned from doing that was that if excuse me, tastes good, but it makes you burp during interviews. Okay.
Okay.
Boobly, whatever they call it. Is that if someone says to me, I need a 10-minute set, I write 8 minutes worth of material, read through material, and I try to stick to that 8 minutes or whatever it is. And I mean, I have extra material on the side in case they need me to go long.
Right.
But usually they don't. Usually everybody's like, no, very seldom do they say stretch. Most of the time it's like, cut. No, but I like 8 minutes worth of material. But if I'm doing if I'm headlining, I'm a little bit a little more lax with the time,
Hmm.
but I still kick myself if I don't hit all the points I want to hit.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. There's
so,
always something you forget in a longer set, always. You know.
yeah. So, but like I said, that was my first set,
Yeah,
and
no, it wasn't bad for first set. It really wasn't.
okay, and for anyone watching this who's thinking about coming, sharing their sets with us,
Mhm,
that's it. This is what pretty much what we're going to do. We're not
mhm.
here to roast you. We're not here to we're here to let you I guess help younger comedians who are, if they're watching.
Yeah.
That's the main thing, is to get people who don't know first of all, people who are fans of comedy, who
Mhm.
like to see how the sausage is made, may enjoy it. And young comedians will go like, wait a minute, you know, as good as these comics are, they used to suck just like me.
Yeah, it's all a process.
Yes. So I thank you for doing this with me, Sandy, and wherever you are, Sugar Ray, I hope you are. Uh,
Tisk tisk.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It says right here, inaugural episode, and you're not here for the inaugural episode. Maybe maybe that'll be a thing. Maybe I'll never show his face. I'll introduce him every week, and he just won't be here, and just let people wonder,
Yeah,
is there really a Sugar Ray? It's
yeah.
like
It's just
Virginia.
yeah. Is that an imaginary friend?
Yeah. Like his jokes are imaginary. uh, well, I appreciate you doing this with me,
I'm sure.
Sandy. And if you don't, well, if you don't mind letting people know once again how they can uh, get a hold of you, or if somebody wants to book you, or if they want to follow
Mhm.
you, or get that kind
Right.
of information. Sure.
Oh, okay. Well, my social media on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok is at Sandy Bernstein Comedy. My website is sandybernsteincomedy.com. Um, my email is sandybcomedy@gmail.com. Um, yeah, so uh, yeah, so I guess those are the different places you can find me if you want to book me. You can send me an email or uh, send me a direct message on Facebook or Instagram. Facebook those are the ones that like pop notifications for me, so I'm more likely to see those first. But I look at them all. TikTok is a little trickier with messages. It's kind of harder to see those. So I would not DM me on TikTok, but uh, I would watch me on TikTok. But if you want to message me, just stick to Facebook and or Instagram is fine.
and
So
and FYI, Sandy will be back with us on our next episode. We'll be looking at her first set, and
yes,
so and she'll be wearing a different outfit. And who know? And Sugar Ray may even be there in spirit,
maybe you never know. Mhm.
or in body and not in spirit. So
Yeah.
thank you everyone for watching, and see you next time on Done Way Past Funny.